5 weeks ago, I ran a 6K run that pushed my heart rate up into about 160 beats per minute average. This week, 5 weeks later, I ran that same route again at the same power, and my heart rate averaged only 149 beats per minute. That's an 11 beat drop. 11 beats that prove that this base training is working for me. It's not just about running slower or faster or slower. It's not just about running slower. It's about building a stronger cardiac engine so that when I want to do longer runs in the future, I have that cardiovascular support. It hasn't been a perfect block. I've had to manage back flares, respiratory issues. I'm realizing that making the mature choice often means putting recovery ahead of the training plan and your ego. Today I'm breaking down the final runs of week 5. We'll take a look at those mature decisions I made that got me through these 5 weeks, and we'll discuss what we're gonna do in our next plan. It's Tuesday, and guess what's happening? Base training. This hat looks like it's like popping off the top of my head. It's also really, really hot. And for some reason, well, I wear a full shirt because I burnt my head this weekend, so I'm trying to keep the sun off my shoulders, but it's warm. One of the important things about Zone 2 training is knowing that for the probably first couple of months, you're gonna need to walk, regardless of whether you're trying to do a continuous run. Otherwise, you just blow your heart rate up the top of your zone, and once you go out of, like above Zone 3, you won't get it back. I spent a lot of time on these walks just bouncing my heart rate from the top of my Zone 2 down to the bottom of my Zone 2. And then over the time, you can watch and see how that changes. How much your run times increase, your walk times decrease, and what your heart rate does. Is that way too close? 30-minute base run, and I got 4 kilometers. Yeah. Cut. It was 800 million degrees in this car. 800 million. No exaggeration. I just did 30-minute base run, and it was so good. My legs were so strong. My heart cooperated. Wonderful. Base training works really well when you don't cook yourself, although I just realized that my husband set my GoPro to auto start recording, so I don't know if I've been recording things. Doing a base run, it is 40 minutes. My goal is to keep my heart rate around 151 beats a minute, and so far I am succeeding, even though it's 30 degrees and super sunny. I said it in week 3. This base training, when I don't cook myself, is really working out. I had strength yesterday, and I really cut down my weights. I am training my 70-year-old mom, and so I did the same weights as her, and I'm hoping that that works out a lot better for me this week. Okay, just in case the GoPro really isn't recording, because I'm not convinced it is, it says time warp. No idea what that even means. We got out the phone as well. When I started this base training program, I had a goal in mind to be able to run a 5K within 40 minutes in my Zone 2. And I think today, even with messing around with the cameras and the microphones and the sun, I'm actually going to achieve that. So yeah, well, except that's my heart rate too high. So yeah, I said it before, I'll say it again. Base training does work, guys. And as you'll see right now, I hit my upper heart rate zone because I started talking and holding my arm up. So I'm walking, and there's no shade in that whatsoever. If you have to walk when you're learning, it's totally fine. The most important thing is to keep your heart rate in that low zone so that you can grow. Yay! I did it! 5.2 in just under 40 minutes. I had like 90 seconds to spare. Yeah! Base training for the win, guys. For the win. Over these 5 weeks, I went from 1 run in week 1, that's a mouthful, to 3 runs in week 5, with a peak of 4 runs in week 3. I really wanted to get up to 4 runs every week, but I'm learning that that is a level of fatigue that I can't currently handle. And honestly, that might be one of the biggest lessons that's come out of this base building. It's about being consistent, doing enough to get the stimulus, recovering well, and staying healthy for the long time, enough so that the training can actually work. The few runs I did where I was naughty, I paid for it. I had a really fun run, I think, in week 2. I then went on to not be able to do my long run. I pushed my strength training in week 4 with a hot run and speed work, and then again couldn't do my long run. So I think, you know, even beyond the cardiovascular gains that I can see from my data, I just really want to remember next week and for the whole 5K training up until September, that one thing that if I push it in the day, it's going to cost me for the rest of the week. I'm not 20 or 30 anymore. I have, you know, recovering lungs, and even if you don't have recovering lungs, my husband is also, well, he's 40. He does the same thing though. He pushes really, really hard, and then his training for the rest of the week is done. So I think that is the biggest lesson from this 5-week base building. You really have to respect where you're at and make the mature decision. More succinctly, the 3 benefits that I have gotten from this 5 week of training. 1, my aerobic engine improved. That at this point I would say is without a doubt. I can run the same routes that I ran 5 weeks ago. I can run them faster. I can run them with lower heart rate, and specifically to this channel, I can run and talk quite a bit easier than I could before. And also the amount of time I have to spend walking for each run has decreased a lot. Benefit 2, I have rebuilt my consistency. Whether or not it's because I'm making more mature choices, specifically because of these videos, I have managed now 5 weeks in a row to do at least 3 aerobic sessions a week with strength each and every week. And that's huge. That is a lot of load that I'm putting on my body. It isn't what I wanted to do. It definitely doesn't meet the full training plan that I initially set out to do. But you know what? That training plan was too aggressive for where I am right now. And that is a-okay. Lesson learned. I don't know how I'm gonna finish that. Lesson learned. Benefit 3, I saw the gains from making mature choices. I realize now why we run slowly. I realize now the benefit of stopping and walking to make sure that your heart rate stays in those low zones instead of blowing them out the top. I can see now with consistent 5 weeks that those things are actually really important, and they do matter and they do help. So yeah, this block wasn't about dramatic speed gains or crushing every workout. In fact, it was the opposite. It was about making running feel normal again, rebuilding my consistency, improving my aerobic control, managing my recovery, and most importantly, learning when to back off.